If you called a duke "my lord" at a Regency ball, you'd be snubbed before your second sentence because every rung on the social ladder, from your grace to sir, carried the power to make or break lives. A single word told the world whether you ruled a county, begged for a voucher to Almack's, or just inherited debt. So who decided the pecking order, and why did it matter so much that Jane Austen obsessed over it? The answer begins at the very top. At the summit of Regency society stood the Duke, addressed as Your Grace, a title reserved for only a handful of families. The Duke of Devonshire, for example, presided over vast estates like Chatsworth, with lands stretching across counties and influence reaching the highest circles of government. Dukes held automatic seats in the House of Lords, and their word could sway ministers or secure a bishopric for a relative. The Duke of Wellington, once a younger son of Irish gentry, rose through military triumph to claim both a ducal title and a cabinet post, blending battlefield glory with legislative power. Below the Duke, the Marquess took precedence, still addressed as "my lord" but with slightly less grandeur. Marquesses controlled large estates, often tied to strategic borders or regions, and commanded respect through both land and patronage. Earls followed, inheriting titles that sometimes stretched back to medieval England. An earl might rule a county in name, but not always in fortune. Many earls found themselves land-rich but cash-poor, and were forced to seek wealthy brides to repair battered finances, a reality that fueled countless marriage plots in Regency novels. The Viscount and the Baron rounded out the peerage, each addressed as "my lord." Their estates tended to be smaller and their influence more local, but even the most junior baron held a seat in the Lords and commanded deference in county society. Yet a baron's holdings could be modest, and a poor earl might preside over a crumbling manor, his title outstripping his means. Rank determined address and precedence, but wealth and power did not always trickle down the pyramid as neatly as the titles themselves. Below the peerage, the gentry formed a class both envied and scrutinised. At the top sat the baronet, a man addressed as Sir, whose title passed from father to son, but who held no automatic seat in the House of Lords. Sir Walter Elliot, Jane Austen's monument to hereditary pride, clung to his baronetcy as proof of ancient lineage, even as his finances wobbled. The baronetcy was created by King James I in 1611 as a fundraising scheme. It was hereditary but not noble. It promised social prestige but not legislative power or a vote in the Lords. A step below stood the knight, also Sir, but this honour was earned, not inherited. Knighthood recognised military valour, court service, or, by the Regency, even professional achievement. The title ended with the recipient, so Sir John Soane, the celebrated architect, could not pass his rank to his sons. Knights enjoyed respect and ceremony, but their Sir was a personal badge, not a family legacy. Then came the gentleman or esquire, the backbone of Austen's world. Mr. Darcy and Mr. Knightley belonged here, men with land, education and local authority, but no formal title or automatic right to legislate. Their standing depended on reputation, estate and character. In Regency England, a true gentleman needed enough land, often 300 acres or more, to live without trade. No, sir, no seat in the Lords, but immense narrative power. A simple mnemonic is this: baronet is a hereditary sir, knight is an earned sir, gentleman is a respected Mr. And in Austen, these distinctions drive every glance across a ballroom. Peers wielded their authority in Parliament, but their grip on power extended far beyond the red benches of the House of Lords. Every English, Welsh and British peer, from baron to duke, held an automatic seat, casting votes on laws and shaping national policy. For Scottish and Irish peers, the path was narrower, with only 16 Scottish and 28 Irish representatives elected among their ranks, leaving many titled lords without a voice in Westminster. Yet even those excluded from the Lords found other levers to pull. Before 1832, the pocket borough system allowed major landowners to control entire parliamentary constituencies. A single peer might nominate the Member of Parliament for a borough with only a handful of voters, trading seats for loyalty or favours. Social power played out just as sharply. At Almack's assembly rooms, the patronesses, led by Lady Jersey, the so-called Queen of London society, held the keys to the season. Admission depended on a coveted voucher, granted only to those deemed suitable by these elite gatekeepers. Wealth alone meant nothing. Birth, address and reputation carried the day. Even the Duke of Wellington, hero of Waterloo, was once turned away for wearing trousers instead of knee breeches. Almack's rules were enforced with a glance or a closed door, and a single misstep could ruin a debutante's prospects. The order of precedence dictated who was introduced first, who danced, and who sat closest to the host at dinner. In Regency England, hierarchy was not just inherited, it was performed, policed, and at times upended by the rituals of the elite. Land was the engine of aristocratic wealth, but estate ledgers told a more complicated story. Rents from tenant farmers flowed into noble coffers, supporting grand houses and political ambitions. Yet fortunes could rise or fall with a bad harvest or a careless heir. A peer with influence might also control lucrative sinecures, paid positions that required little work, and were handed out to loyal supporters or younger sons. These appointments, sometimes worth hundreds of pounds a year, turned favour into income and bound local society to the landowner's interests. Yet the gap between title and cash could be yawning. In 1819, London society buzzed over the marriage of Harriet Mellon, a former actress turned banking heiress, to William Beauclerk, the 9th Duke of St Albans. She brought a fortune, he brought a historic title and a mountain of debts. Their union was dissected in caricatures and gossip columns, a living merger of cash and coronet. For every proud peer, there was the risk of becoming a figurehead in need of rescue, and for every wealthy outsider, the chance to buy a place in the old order. The Regency pyramid was never just about birthright. It was about who could turn land, money, and marriage into lasting power. Centuries on, titles still shape privilege, sometimes quietly, sometimes with ceremony. Understanding who stands where is not just history, it is the blueprint for social power today. Curious where the lines blur next? Once you understand the hierarchy, you begin to see how every Regency romance, rivalry, and scandal was shaped long before the ballroom doors ever opened.